Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, All People, the #1 player in the cultivation world. Chapter 31. The assessment ranking is as follows. Number 1. Zhang Shuyu, contribution value 100 plus 1650 plus 500 plus 2000. Second place. Anhui, contribution value 80 plus 525 plus 500 plus 2000. Third place. Xu Wan, contribution value 50 plus 215 plus 500 plus 2000. Fourth place. He Yudong, contribution value 30 plus 205 plus 500 plus 2000. Number 5. Zhang Ce, contribution value 20 plus 190 plus 500 plus 2000. As soon as the old and majestic voice came out, everyone was in an uproar. 5 pass. Doesn't that mean that these 5 people are the top geniuses in Shanghai County, with the demeanor of arrogance, and it also means that they have already stepped into the holy land of Xuanwu? The monks who participated in the assessment said that they were not envious, it was a lie. The aura flowed from everyone around them, returning to their best condition. Anwei and the others let out a heavy breath. It's finally over. Xuanwu Holy Land, wait for me. Xuanwu Holy Land. The first is my master's. Xuanwu Holy Land, my master is here. HMPH, little ones, don't think this is the 5th round of assessment. If your performance is not outstanding, you will be eliminated, so be careful. Close black lens bracket. The old man knows that you all want to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land, but it is not that simple to get in. If your contribution value can reach 10,000, you will definitely be able to enter, so if you want to get more contribution points, listen carefully to the old man's next words. Close black lens bracket. Even Zhang Shuyu didn't dare to let go of the slightest slack, looking up at the sky. You will be sent to the ancient battlefield for the 5th round of assessment. Of course, there are many monsters derived from evil spirits, and any type may appear, and you have seen it, you have never seen it, and you don't even know it. There will also be some monsters in it. Close black lens bracket. The number of monsters in the ancient battlefield is very large. The first wave of beasts has hundreds, not only ordinary monsters, but also elite, general, martial, and king, and the corresponding contribution value is also increasing step by step. Close black lens bracket. The monsters in the first level are all LV.18 or LV.19, and the corresponding contribution values are 50 and 100. Close black lens bracket. After the second level, the contribution value will be doubled for every additional level of monster. The highest level of monster is LV.23. Killing a monster will reward 1600 contribution value. Close black lens bracket. Of course, this is just the contribution value corresponding to ordinary monsters. Close black lens bracket. If Zhang Shuyu stumbles in this round of assessment, the previous first place contribution value will be nothing to watch at all. It seems unfair, but Zhang Shuyu knows that this just shows the difficulty and comprehensiveness of the 5th round of assessment. Those who can pass the 5th round of assessment will play a pivotal role in the human race in the end. That's why there is such a high contribution value reward. It's finally time for the fun part. I don't know if the difficulty will be more difficult than the copy of Xuanyu City. Thinking of this, Zhang Shuyu's spirit was shaken instantly, and he returned to the state of excitement before the assessment started. Several old men at the top of the trial tower felt sorry for each other. I really want to see how Zhang Shuyu suffers in the 5th round. Why do you need such high authority? It's really annoying. Ancient battlefield. The howling wind blows across the land. It is said to be an ancient battlefield, but it is more like a barren mountain and wild ridge, connected to the vast Gobi Desert, and there are meteorites passing by in the sky from time to time. This place may already be extremely close to the sky. The only thing that resembles a battlefield is the dilapidated ground. I don't know if the black ground is the history of blood accumulation, or the deep black soil. But only such an environment can give the monks room to play. Whether it is pulling a kite or attacking with different terrains, it is very suitable. The silence of the ancient battlefield was broken. Beams of light burst out from the sky full of stars, scattered straight to the ground. Gradually, a figure came out of it. It is the young monks who participated in the assessment from the entire Xuanwu continent. When it comes to the 5th round, naturally they all have to enter together. But now that the past has been seen at a glance, there are only a few hundred people left in the entire ancient battlefield. Zhang Shuyu is also one of them. When he stepped out of the teleportation array, he could feel the excitement of the undead puppets. The entire ancient battlefield was filled with evil spirits and undead breaths that ghost cultivators could easily feel. The pores of his whole body opened comfortably, breathing in the air here greedily. No matter whether it is the copy of Xuanyu City Quarry or the previous rounds of assessments, there has never been such an aura. It seems that a real life and death battle took place in this place, and the number of people participating in the battle was extremely large, so the black on the ground. It is history written in blood. That's why the bloody smell here persists for years. It seems that we want to let our group of monks who entered the 5th round experience the battlefield. Da da da, puff. From nowhere came the sound of footsteps and the sound of wind breaking through the air. A group of monsters have already found Zhang Shuyu's trail, and they rushed towards Zhang Shuyu quickly. But the number is not many, there are only 10 monsters, it should be a small team. There is no enchantment here, Zhang Shuyu directly throws the detection technique. Only LV.19 Mirror Demon Squad Captain and 9 LV.18 Mirror Demon are displayed, other attributes and skills are not displayed. Zhang Shuyu saw mirrors with eddy currents in their faces. They looked like square or round ordinary mirrors, or sunken or protruding distorting mirrors. They had weird faces, and the mirror was covered with a layer of vines. And the closer they got to Zhang Shuyu, the faces of Zhang Shuyu in the blue robe of the college were all on their faces. Not only that, the mirror surface of the mirror demon was trembling slightly, making a buzzing sound. Because of the commotion here, the other units of mirror demon also rushed over. Except for Zhang Shuyu here, the same goes for everyone else. Zhang Shuyu was a little moved. I don't know if it will work on the mirror monster if the dead bones are bombarded indiscriminately. But before he finished thinking, his brain had already ordered the undead puppet to rush forward, to test it first. 3 swords falling together. The 3 mirror demons were all beaten to pieces, but the frames were still there, and they were still waving the vines in their hands, including the LV.191. It seems that he is not dead yet. The attribute is a bit high. Although it was a little unexpected, Zhang Shuyu felt that it was expected when he saw this scene. After all, it's the 5th round, so it's normal to be stronger. But their vine attacks are like scratching an itch for undead puppets. But the attack is a bit weak. I thought it was a mental attack series. Continue to attack. After taking a few steps back, the undead puppet, which was convenient for Zhang Shuyu to observe, rushed forward again. Clatter. The 3 mirror monsters who were attacked first were completely shattered. Contribution value of Zhang Shuyu, plus 200. Question mark question mark question mark. At this time, on the top floor of the trial tower, several old men with white beards who had been staring at the contributions of the 5 people had black question marks on their faces. What's the situation? Why did this kid add 200 all of a sudden? He doesn't really have 4 summoned creatures. I think it's possible. Contribution value of Zhang Shuyu, plus 450. In the next moment, Zhang Shuyu's contribution value changed again, and his skill of indiscriminate bombing was actually really useful. Old Li said hesitantly, could it be, he has 9 undead puppets? No one answered Lao Li's question. Golem. The old men were already shocked by this scene. The 5th round is very difficult, notoriously. If they hadn't transferred Zhang Shuyu's information, they might have suspected that this was a little monster released by some old monster. Ancient battlefield. Just right, this team is finished. Zhang Shuyu looked at the mirror monsters who were rushing towards from other teams, saw the full contribution value and wanted to jump into his arms. Don't worry, my lovely contribution points. Zhang Shuyu released 7 more undead puppets, and ran with the undead puppets. The 10 undead puppets attracted 10 teams of mirror demons in an orderly manner, and gathered at the location Zhang Shuyu had decided on. When the mirror demons surrounded the undead puppets, they didn't know that they had become a turtle in a urn, a praying mantis catching cicadas. 10 undead puppets did it. Click, clatter. The 5 captains of the mirror demon were smashed into pieces, and while the lens of the mirror demon was still wrapped in vines, the puppet threw them up. Boom. Affected by such a strong earthquake, the ground also shook once or twice, and even Zhang Shuyu was a little unsteady. Clatter. The undead puppets were blown away and fell to the ground one after another. They shook their heads in unison, then stood up immediately with their swords in hand. And the mirror demons were blown to pieces neatly and turned into Zhang Shuyu's contribution value. Contribution value of Zhang Shuyu, plus 5500. 100 mirror monsters were still aggressive on their front feet, but their back feet became fish meat for other people inexplicably, and they were suffocated. No Easter eggs. Of course, this is a joke. Zhang Shuyu kills 100 mirror demons at the same time in 1 minute, reward contribution value, 200. Tisk, you're really stingy. Zhang Shuyu pursed his lips, as if he felt that it didn't make any difference whether he sent it or not, as if he had typed it himself. Hiss. The old men gasped. Is this a human being? Only 3 minutes into the 5th round of assessment, Zhang Shuyu's total contribution value has reached 10,400, which is completely enough to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land. The examiners couldn't figure out what Zhang Shuyu did. If other monks saw such a change in his contribution value, they would definitely feel that everyone was angry. No matter what he did, the first wave of monsters must have been wiped out. It seems that this kid's performance is really unexpected. The old men swear that they have never seen such outrageous things in their lives. If there is a chance, they really want to ask how Zhang Shuyu did it. Looking at other people's contribution value, the most is only added 150, how can there be such 1,000 increase? The eyebrows of the young man in red almost raised inaudibly, and he was a little shocked in his heart. Even if he had more knowledge than these old men, he had never seen such an incredible thing. This kid, what kind of difficulty does it take to stump him? The ancient battlefield is comparable to 1/10 of the regular battlefield. Do you need a real battlefield? He muttered to himself, also wondering what Zhang Shuyu was doing inside. Unfortunately, he didn't have permission to watch the 5th assessment either. After the mirror demons were wiped out, Zhang Shuyu began to wait patiently again. I don't know when the second wave of monsters will appear, it shouldn't take as long as a minute, right? Boom. There was a rumbling sound and a rapid piercing sound from above the sky, and Zhang Shuyu suddenly had a bad premonition. Sure enough, looking up, it was a meteorite that rubbed sparks in the air and was falling. National quintessence. It was too late for Zhang Shuyu to dodge at this time, he could only summon dozens of undead puppets to cover himself in a hemispherical shape. Hemisphere net. Protects their master without fear of death, already dead, waiting for the meteorite to land. I hope the physical value of 6,200 can help me resist these injuries. Because he really couldn't estimate the lethality of this meteorite. Bang! The sparks were washed to the ground under the enchantment formed by the half-sphere net, successfully blocked. Then, the meteorite was easily bounced off by the hemispherical net, and rolled backward. Call. Zhang Shuyu let out a long sigh of relief, frightened to death. He thought that the meteorite was so lethal, but he didn't expect that even the aftermath of the meteorite would not be able to shake it. But even so, the next time a meteorite comes, he won't force himself to resist it. You don't need a meat shield. It's the same sentence, bastard. Seeing that there was no more movement in the sky, Zhang Shuyu let the half-sphere net spread out in peace. Da. The sudden sound of footsteps put Zhang Shuyu in a good mood. It seems that the meteorite just now is a skill. It's finally delivered to your door, it seems that you don't need to wait for the cooling time, it's awesome. He left 10 undead puppets forming an array around his head, and the other 30 undead puppets rushed up with their swords up. As he expected, another wave of meteorites fell from the sky. And this wave of monsters are all pine tree demons, 1 LV.19 magician, with 9 LV.18 shooters holding pistols. Zhang Shuyu found it extremely novel. This was the first time he saw a monster shooter with a pistol outside of the letter. It's a pity that their bullets are of no use to the undead puppets. This time, Zhang Shuyu directly let the undead puppets use their skills, thunderous. This time the pine tree demons could speak, and they screamed incessantly. And their fate was the same as that of the mirror demon just now. In the end, under the skill of bone explosion, there were no bones left, not even a pine needle left. There were explosions one after another, and hundreds of pine tree demons didn't know what happened, so they had to wait for refresh and resurrection. But when they revived, Zhang Shuyu was no longer visible. The net of leaking fish was also under the knife of the undead puppet, and his soul returned to the west. Contribution value of Zhang Shuyu, plus 6050. What happened again? It's been less than a minute since the last time the contribution value changed. What kind of monster is Zhang Shuyu? Such a pervert. Yeah, it's too perverted. As long as you give him a little more time and resources to develop, he will definitely become the pillar of my human race. Look, old man, this kid is already comparable to those few. You can't praise it like that. It's still unknown what kind of heart this child has, and I don't know if he can grow up smoothly. But the old man said that he has surpassed the legendary level, do you agree? These words do make sense. There is no smooth path in the journey of cultivation. Even though the cultivation method has been forcibly changed in the realm of comprehension, it still takes time for geniuses to rise. No one knows whether Zhang Shuyu will be able to reach that step in the future. It would only be too early to say anything now. And they have more important things to do, protection. The future of the human race is a fire that has not started a prairie fire. Only when it is preserved can the human race continue to grow. It seems that this child's group attack skills are also very powerful. Lao Li turned the subject around, and everyone's attention was indeed diverted. Good boy, how many surprises are there that we don't know? You can fight alone or in groups, excellent. After the pine tree demons exploded, they were covered with sawdust, and no blood flowed out. Zhang Shuyu suddenly realized that the aura of undead here might come from the monster beasts that will be assessed later. When he was regretting not wearing a mask, a voice sounded from where he was in the ancient battlefield. The second round of assessment begins. Before Zhang Shuyu could think about whether the voice was male or female, old or young, footsteps gradually sounded within a mile, 2 kilometers distance of him. The voices are disorganized, but intricately organized. The undead puppets have surrounded Zhang Shuyu. Coming. Zhang Shuyu secretly looked forward to it in his heart. LV.20 Giant Bear Spear Warrior. LV.20 Bear Archer. A group of 10 bears, 4 fighters and 6 crossbowmen, each with a contribution value of 200. So one team, that's 2,000. There are 20 teams here, that's 40,000. At this moment, Zhang Shuyu's eyes could not wait to burst into light. It's not that he is aggressive, but that his contribution value is too high. If this continues, the county chief may be in his pocket. Zhang Shuyu was not worried that he would not be able to deal with these giant bears, but his habitual thinking had already made him think about strategies for ordinary players, such as Xu Wan. According to this level of difficulty, it is estimated that it will be difficult for other monks to pass the second level. Even if they can pass the level, it will take a lot of time, unless there are more control skills. In his opinion, the difficulty of the first level is not too great. As long as you spend a little effort, most monks can pass the level. But the second level is much more difficult. Just a little more level, the monster beast changes, and the number doubles, which is enough to increase the difficulty several times. The shooter is known as the natural enemy of the summoner. Coupled with the emergence of archers like crossbowmen, even magicians and summoners with many control skills have to be discouraged. Zhang Shuyu's judgment was right. In the history of the Shuangwu continent's big exam, the number of monks who can pass the second pass is very small. In fact, there are 5 levels in the ancient battlefield, and the current record is the 3rd level, which was broken more than 200 years ago. The record has never been broken since. The old men who invigilate the exam are also speculating whether Zhang Shuyu can break this record. I think he has a good chance. Although I don't know what this guy's group damage skill is like, but I can tell from his previous performance that it's terrifying. Has this child awakened his talent? As soon as Lao Li said this, everyone fell silent. Think about it, no matter how strong a monk is, there is a limit. It is impossible to be so strong. It makes sense. If Zhang Shuyu really awakens his talent, it would be a great thing. The old men talked more and more sideways, but their eyes were fixed on Zhang Shuyu's contribution value for a moment. Zhang Shuyu's contribution value is like a jumping machine, either hovering or rubbing. Rush upwards at once. Zhang Shuyu's old routine remained unchanged, letting the undead puppets run one after another to attract the attention of the giant bears, and they circled together to blow them up. To deal with monsters, the most important thing is practicality, not the novelty of the methods. After the undead puppet attracted the hatred, they pulled all the giant bears together, cut off a few bears, and then used the dead bones to explode them indiscriminately, and they died in pieces. Zhang Shuyu has long been familiar with this style of play, and his efficiency is astonishingly high. The undead puppets that soon scattered away have attracted all the clumsy giant bears to one place, and began to run around the giant bear archer. When Zhang Shuyu and other giant bears were almost gathered, they let the undead puppets attack. The giant bear spear warrior of LV.20 was instantly killed. Then there was a series of bone explosions, and in the blink of an eye, the area around Zhang Shuyu returned to calm again. Contribution value of Zhang Shuyu, 56,450. The old men are used to it. This doll has already reached the second level, but it's only LV.20, so it doesn't affect him much. Hey, this fifth round of assessment is simply to give him contribution points. If I don't have permission, I really want to increase the difficulty and beat him. This old man also has this idea. Let dozens of king-level monsters go in and see how he deals with it. Looking at Zhang Shuyu's contribution value, and then looking at other people's, the gap between the weird guy and the ordinary talent comes out. At this time, the second place has become Shu Wan. As an elemental summoner, her group attack skills are more suitable for the fifth round of assessment. She is also the fastest person to clean up monsters in Shanghai County except Zhang Shuyu. But her contribution value at this time is only 7,765. The 100 monsters in the first level have been almost killed by her. After Shu Wan turned out to be Zhang Ce. This sword cultivator came from behind, and his contribution value reached 6,000. It seems that Zhang Ce is also a monk who is good at dealing with a large number of monsters. An Wei and He Yudong were almost there. Anhui attacked and killed one after another. Although it was stable, the efficiency was not high. He Yudong is more straightforward, directly confronting monsters head-on. As for the Sword of Anger skills, now is not the time. The contribution value of these two people is not increasing fast, and it is only in the early 5,000s. But they all have faith in themselves. After completing the first level, it is not a problem for the contribution value to exceed 10,000. Level, talent, contribution value, each item meets the requirements. Entering the Xuanwu Holy Land is a certainty. The Xuanwu Continental Examination started with the mainland, with the county as the unit. It is carried out at the same time on the same day, and the progress of the monks in each county is similar. Now almost the fifth round of the major exams in all counties has started, and ancient battlefields have been opened one after another. As long as anyone can enter it, they are all geniuses. This is also the most talented group of monks in the Xuanwu continent this year. In the eyes of the senior officials of the Xuanwu continent, these young monks are the future of the Xuanwu continent. Every year, a group of strong people can always be born from it, sending fresh blood to the Xuanwu continent. In the most central city of Xuanwu continent, the famous Xuanwu city, a huge tower floated in midair. Countless people in Xuanwu city looked up at the sky. No matter where they were, they could clearly see the tower. This tower does not usually appear. When it appeared, it was the day of the Xuanwu continent's big exam, and this was the body of the trial tower. The trial towers that are undergoing big exams in various central cities are all clones of it. There are 3 divine towers in the Xuanwu continent, and the trial tower is one of them. The other is the Xuanwu Pagoda located in the Xuanwu Holy Land. The third one is called the Demon Suppressing Tower, which is guarded at the front line all year round, and basically does not appear in the eyes of the people. Suddenly, the sky was dark and the temperature in the air dropped sharply. Day and night immediately experienced a rotation. In this dark, late night, a darker thick fog streaked across the sky. Its target is the trial tower. Stop! A shout resounded through the sky, and everyone noticed a streamer appearing above the sky, but they still didn't know what happened. But the black mist has no intention of stopping at all, as if the trial tower is its destination. You still want to block me? It's ridiculous. Because it's too late. The thick black fog twisted into a grimace, and he didn't forget to laugh at the people behind him while running away. The people behind were obviously offended by this move. A pair of golden-white transparent eyes appeared in the sky, and the thick fog was instantly frightened and wrinkled into a screaming oil painting. It accelerated the speed towards the target, and the speed of the eyes was not slow, and an incomparably holy light burst out from it, piercing the black thick fog. The thick black fog threw something out, and a huge black-purple shield blocked the attack of the eyes in the air. But it was only for a moment. With its strength, it is simply no match for those who come. Ah! The dense fog was only 100 meters away from the tower, but it was hit by the light and let out a scream. At the same time, just beside the top of the tower, a dense black fog appeared out of thin air. Chang Chang Chang, this immortal who has won the admiration of all the people will be deceived by me. Goodbye. The voice of the black mist is neither male nor female, and it is old and sometimes young, making it impossible to guess its true appearance. Call out. After it got into the trial tower, the people behind it followed. At the same time, two other figures came in the form of streamers, and at the same time brought back the day of this world. There is a faint golden light visible on these three people, which is the merit and virtue of them, all of them are. It even let it escape. A man clenched his fist regretfully, wishing to hammer the trial tower to pieces, of course, just thinking about it. The more important thing right now is how to deal with that annoying demon. Chen Sheng, I don't blame you for this. Who would have thought that the devil of the devil's nest would suddenly attack today? In the past, they were quite peaceful. Who knows? You don't have to blame yourself, Chen Sheng. Nan Chengxing sighed. These are not the key to the problem. What needs to be solved now is the trial tower. Those young juniors can't deal with this monster. Well, give me half an hour and let me solve it. In the trial tower, all the monks are still trying their best to fight against the monsters, and there is a sudden change. What's the situation? Why did the monsters disappear? There is still black mist coming out of the soil. What are these things? Could it be a new level? Zhang Shuyu was not as reassuring as other monks. He immediately sensed something was wrong and let the undead puppets surround him. But not long. Zhang Shuyu. It was Shu Wan's voice. The undead puppets made a path in the direction of the sound. Why are you here? I still want to ask you this. Look, everyone has been assigned to this area. I don't know what happened. Zhang Shuyu raised his left hand and propped his chin with his right hand, thinking. I don't know what happened. Anyway, be careful and wait and see what happens. Then he began to observe the surroundings, and sure enough, all the monks participating in the assessment had been enclosed in one place. Is the assessment suspended or is it? Seeing this, Shu Wan's flustered mind instantly calmed down. Looking at the undead puppet beside Zhang Shuyu, she suddenly felt that it might be easier to calm down with cold summoned creatures, right? Juniors, I am Nan Xingchen. As soon as these words came out, the young monks in this area were in an uproar. My idol, it's Xingzhen. I just entered the trial tower. It's just. Before everyone could express their feelings about hearing their idol, Nan Xingchen continued to speak in a steady voice. The devil of the devil's lair took advantage of the loophole and sneaked into the ancient battlefield. Please protect yourselves. I will resolve this matter within half an hour and repair the enchantment. I want to emphasize again, the target of the devil is you young monks. In order for you to grow up in the future, you must protect yourself. I am a Xuanwu monk, and I am not afraid of the devil's den. On the top floor of the clone of the Shanghai County Trial Tower, Dongguo Jingyang was also very excited when he heard Nan Xingchen's voice, but soon realized that something big had happened. Those filthy things in the devil's cave are really out of their minds, and they even made their minds on my basalt seedlings. I hope Xingzhen can solve it smoothly. Hey, why do you think this devil's lair is not dead, and dare to hit any crooked ideas? Old Li, that's what I said, but no matter what angle we stand in, we all think this trick is cruel, don't we? Old Zhang is right. These bastards also know that they are here for the big exam, and that's all for this. I see that they have some brains besides being cunning. Tisk, don't care if he is ruthless or not. The key is what to do with the dolls inside. If Xingzhen can't solve it, the gang of turtle grandsons will have to come in the future. Then what about the little flower seedlings of our human race? Quiet. Dongguo Jingyang raised his hand, and put his red sleeves on the handle of the chair. That's Xingzhen. A few old men were enlightened. Yes, that's the star. Are they worried about a hammer? The young monks in the trial tower also thought the same way. I am a Xuanwu monk, I am not afraid of the devil's den. There were even crazy fans bouncing around, raising their fists, repeating the words of Xingzhen. Our protagonist, Zhang Shuyu, is naturally very excited too, Xingzhen. That's the star. He was trembling with excitement. If there is a ranking of players in the comprehension world of this game, Xingzhen definitely belongs to the top row. And Shu Wan was only 17 years old. She was so excited, she shouted with excitement. Afterwards, without being summoned, everyone consciously moved closer to other monks. Everyone knows that the Devil's Nest is a terrible place, and the hostility of the Devil's boss towards the human race has reached its peak, and he has always been the deadly enemy of the human race. Although there are many monsters and monsters in it, it is also a place of treasures, with many treasures and dungeons in it. If the strength allows, this group of young monks will inevitably go there in the future. It is said that the monsters in the Devil's Cave have a minimum level of LV 85. Do you think we can deal with them if we encounter them? Shu Wan frowned lightly, feeling a little worried. But Zhang Shuyu didn't know the specific strength of the devil, and he didn't know what to do. The stars are here, you have to trust him. Zhang Shuyu's tone was firmer than ever. Now that Nan Chengxing has come, his chance of dying in the trial tower has dropped from 90% to 10%. What is there to be more thankful for? What's more, it's just a devil breaking in, and not all the strength of the Devil's Cave is used to deal with them in this group of flower seedlings. Good. Shu Wan nodded heavily. At this time, the confused smell of blood in the ancient battlefield became more and more intense. The dense black fog gradually covered the stars in the sky, leaving only boundless darkness. Then, a burst of strange laughter sounded. Tang, clang, clang. You little dolls still want to deal with me. You should wash your butt and put on a diaper to sleep. The devil scorned Zhang Shuyu and the others for their courage to confront him. The devil, don't even think about succeeding. That's right, we have Star Venerable. Cut. The devil gave a cold snort of disdain. Nan Chengxing wanted to catch it, but there was no way. Even if it is caught, it will have already killed all these little bastards by then, so the deal is not bad. After its voice fell, all the blood energy that originally belonged to the Devil's Cave in the entire ancient battlefield was summoned and permeated upwards. Zhang Shuyu frowned, disgusted with this behavior. Fishing does not catch fry, picking herbs does not pick seedlings. But on second thought, this is the life and death enemy of the race, how could he talk about so much morality? The assassins, killers, sword repairers with the highest damage, and the body repairers and shield warriors with the highest defenses are all surrounded by the outermost circle. The summoners, beast masters and magicians are all in the middle, and the archers and control system who attack the farthest, the monks and so on, are all in the center. The three-layer attack formation has become the default universal formation for monks in the Xuanwu continent. Oh, so scary. Your formation is too comprehensive, isn't it? But it's also just right, it's convenient for this demon to catch up and kill Chang Chang Chang. Oh, it will take half an hour for your Star Master to drive me out, I don't know if I can save you by then. The faces of many young monks instantly became stinky. It's really disgusting to say that they forget it, but deliberately sow dissension. Da da. Footsteps sounded, and the blood energy attracted by the devil seemed to be integrated into the monsters in the fifth test. All the monks could see that the mirror demon running from a distance was twice as big as before, and the vines on the mirror turned red. Phew, I'm shocked, it's LV.23. Let's face it together, there shouldn't be any problem. Some monks from other counties threw out the detection technique first and got the information. Shu Wan also remembered at this time, that's right. I almost forgot that there is a limit on the ancient battlefield, the maximum can't exceed LV.23. The young monks breathed a sigh of relief. But, there is not only one monster in the ancient battlefield. A female nun spoke in a low voice, and everyone fell silent. It was so difficult for them to deal with monsters lower than their level just now. If all the monsters came towards them, there was no way to deal with them. But half an hour, it seems that it is not impossible to blog. Da da. With the sound of more overlapping footsteps, everyone's thoughts became reality. The monsters from the ancient battlefield, mirror monsters, squirrel monsters, giant bears, and many monsters they had never seen before, were pieced together. It's just that they all have one thing in common, all of them have a suffix, demonization. The footsteps of the unified LV.23 monster army weighed on everyone's hearts, and the defenses of these young monks were gradually collapsing. Usually it's okay against monsters that are 1 or 2 levels higher than myself, but 4 or 5 levels. They dare not even think about it. The terrifying coercion made them dare not relax a bit, and they tightly grasped their weapons. Shu Wan was also a little flustered with fright, and couldn't help stretching out her hand to grab the robe on Zhang Shuyu's arm, trying to borrow some strength. For some reason, she just felt that Zhang Shuyu had a way to deal with these demonized monsters. Zhang Shuyu, don't be afraid, it seems that their strength is only at the general level. Although they are tricky, they can be solved. Zhang Shuyu looked at Shu Wan firmly. He wanted Xingzhen to have no worries and to strengthen the barrier of the trial tower. But Shu Wan was not comforted at all, instead she became even more flustered. What? General level. She knows that Zhang Shuyu can single-handedly deal with a group of elites, or even a group of elite leaders, but to say that Zhang Shuyu can deal with a group of demonized general-level monsters. How should she believe it? Qing, Clang, clan's pride, are you panicking? Are you afraid? This is a gift I prepared for you. The strength of these demonized monsters are all at the general level. I can play with you. And I'm very gentle. I only arranged 100 monsters. You have to thank me very much, otherwise, your Star Master will have no chance to save you. Chang Chang Chang. You devil, don't try to deceive the public. A sword cultivator pointed his sword at the sky and said angrily. Oh, there is such a heroic kid who dares to challenge this demon. This demon admires you very much. How about it? Do you want to fight one-on-one or one-on-one? This devil gives you a chance. Of course, you can also choose other human dolls. The monster is getting closer and closer, the devil's laughter is getting more and more wild, and the footsteps of some young monks are also confronting each other and retreating. Fear, although they have confidence in Xingzhen, how can they protect themselves in the face of general-level monsters 4 or 5 levels higher than themselves? Gradually, the young monks became polarized and separated. A group of people are like a mainstay, vowing to die. A group of people, however, kept retreating like quicksand slapped by the waves. The 5 people in Shanghai County who participated in the assessment, except for He Yudong, everyone stood in place. An Wei, Zhang Ce, and Shu Wan all clenched their weapons tightly, their eyes solemn, waiting for the best time to attack. But Zhang Shuyu didn't dawdle anymore. Now that the situation is clear, it's better to get rid of these demonized monsters quickly. I just don't know if it will have any impact, such as the infection of magic energy. Swish. Zhang Shuyu moved. In front of him was a group of undead puppets in black robes. At this time, many young monks discovered that a group of people wearing black robes and lowering their heads turned out to be summoning creatures. How could that person have so many summoned creatures? This summoner is really not afraid of death. He is LV.20 Ghost Cultivator Necromancer, the only hidden, Zhang Shuyu. The only hidden. Awesome. Is this the time to talk about this? Should we follow along? MD. Come on. At most, he will be a hero again in 18 years. Shu Wan had already followed, and she was going bald with anger. Obviously a teammate, but Zhang Shuyu only has a simple sentence every time he takes action, without even discussing it. What? Don't follow. The opposite is 100 general-level monsters. How could she not follow? Even if her strength is meager, if she refuses to save her, is she still from the same sect? So, on this battlefield, out of hundreds of people, only half of them dare to fight against demonized monsters. The only belief in their minds is to defeat the demonized monster in front of them. Oh, there are so many people coming up to die, this demon really didn't expect. For the sake of the pride of the heavens, I will give you a chance. If you kneel down obediently and surrender, then I will let you be my slaves. Clang clang. Again, Brother Zhang doesn't talk too much. He didn't pay attention to the devil's words, and rushed forward. Break. He stopped quickly, 50 meters in front of the monster. 30 undead puppets were neatly arranged in front of him. Even though Shu Wan has downloaded many dungeons with him, she still doesn't understand his brain circuit at this time. At the same time, other brave monks caught up. Clang clang. It seems that you have figured it out. But no one paid attention to him, but looked at Zhang Shuyu suspiciously. Shu Wan spoke first. Why did you stop here? Because the distance is enough. As soon as the words fell, a total of 119 undead puppets stood in front of him, and the soul fire in his head was emitting an orange light. Hiss. Everyone gasped. How come there are so many? Seeing the surprise, Shu Wan immediately understood Zhang Shuyu's purpose. I saw this large group of undead puppets rushing up, moving so fast that people couldn't see clearly, only the light of the swords in their hands and the cold air remained in the air. As a shadow hunter, Anwei has always been extremely strict with her body skills. Similarly, Zhang Xi has also been trained by the devil in his family. The two immediately discovered the uniqueness of Zhang Shuyu's summoned creatures. Even if the attack power is not good, with this speed, it can still drag the enemy for a while. The devil thought so too. It just thinks that this young human milk doll is too tender, so what if it takes a while? In the face of powerful strength, speed is nothing. Yeah, is this a strange gift for your future master? It's a pity that this demon doesn't have a dog. Its words are so cheap that many people feel dizzy after hearing them. It is obviously a mode of mouthing hatred when the human race fights in a group, but it is used by the invisible and untouchable devil on the opposite side to mock people. Those who are grumpy want to slash it with a sword. However, the speed of the undead puppet is faster. Thunderbolt. The undead puppets got the order. Every 10 rushed to a demonized monster and chopped it down. The sword gang on the blade is extremely powerful, on the spot. The demonized monster was seriously injured. But it was only a serious injury. Although it is only a general level monster, it has been demonized after all, and its defense power has been greatly increased. So is wisdom. Just when the monsters dodged the attacks and were only wounded by a few attacks, the monsters came out with tricks. The vines of the mirror demon whipped towards the puppets. Pine shooters ricochet their pinecone bullets, sending waves of heat in the air. The giant bear warriors also raised their swords and swung them forward. The undead puppets were slightly injured immediately. Raiders player Zhang Shuyu immediately began to analyze in his mind. The defense power of the demonized monsters is about 6,000, but the attack power is only around 4,000. Unexpected unity. Since the attack is not high, Zhang Shuyu directly sent 20 undead puppets to besiege a monster, so that even if he wanted to dodge, there was no gap. Clatter. A mirror demon shattered. Kill LV.23 mirror demon, experience plus 10,000. Zhang Shuyu raised his eyebrows, and a look of joy flashed in his eyes. I didn't expect that there would be a surprise. Is this an Easter egg for the demons invading the trial tower? Although it is a bit small, not even comparable to Jackal King, but there is no need to wait for the cooling time. 0 cost experience points, happy. He raised his hand neatly, with a radius of 10 meters around the wreckage of the mirror demon. Boom! It exploded. Then the monks who followed Zhang Shuyu could only hear the endless rumbling sound, the sound of shattering glasses, the cracking sound of trees, and the sound of flesh and blood of giant bears. In front of their eyes, clusters of beautiful sparks exploded in spherical shapes. Golem. Someone swallowed. Terrible. A wave of explosions can pull away at least 10 demonized monsters. The key. Those are all at the general level. This is what Zhang Shuyu wanted, a general level monster. The residual energy of the wreckage can effectively exert the effect of indiscriminately exploding bones. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent this group of monsters away so easily, and earned 1 million experience points as extra money. So cool. Less is less, but more. If there are a few more waves, he will definitely upgrade the fastest among the same group of monks. The taciturn and indifferent Zhang Xi hugged his Taoist companion, sword, and said a rare word, is it over? Anwei glanced at him and nodded, well, you don't have vertigo, nor are you hallucinating. The other monks were very envious of Zhang Shuyu's skills. I'm envious. Why didn't I learn this skill? Zhang Shuyu, you are so handsome. Ghost cultivators are awesome. Whoever says they haven't heard of ghost cultivators in the future, I'll give them a 108,000 word popular science on the spot. Did we survive? That's great. As soon as I get out, I will announce the good news to my parents. Zhang Shuyu's group was extremely lively, discussing the grand occasion just now. But the group of deserters behind were dumbfounded and shook their heads in disbelief. Among them, He Yudong was particularly panicked. He suddenly realized, Zhang Shuyu is such a strong person, how did he have the courage to compete with others for the first place? Moreover, I am afraid that people have not noticed their own existence, have they? But he still didn't believe in fate, and was very angry. If my awakened way of cultivation is not the only hidden ghost cultivation, he must have stolen my way. The laws of heaven are not fair. I should be number one. I should be the one to deal with those general monsters. But among his group of people, no one cares about his madness. Many people mostly only have the gratification of the rest of their lives. The way of cultivation has always been determined by God, just like before the world of cultivation has changed. The awakening of several spiritual roots is determined by God. How could someone snatch it? We are saved. There is no need to worry now, there is a strong man. But what happened next was not what they expected. How is this possible? No, this demon doesn't believe all this. The devil's voice became more and more distorted. This demon must not have enough demon energy. My children, come out. Eat all these human dolls. The thick black fog and red blood gas were many times thicker than before. Zhang Shuyu couldn't bear the bloody smell, and almost vomited from nausea. The smell of old blood is really not very pleasant, especially after it is mixed with magic energy. The sky trembled, and the entire Gobi Desert shook. A few seconds later, Gobi stopped moving, and the sound of footsteps that reached everyone's ears was more dense and hurried than before. Ha ha ha, you all die. The scum of the human race. You human race shouldn't live in the realm of comprehension. This should be the world of the devil's nest. As the devil's words became more and more crazy, the thick black fog behind a rock was the most obvious, and there was a faint phantom trembling with excitement. At the same time, many monster beasts have appeared in the sight of the young monks. This group of underage, even just grown-up teenagers and girls were full of energy and were encouraged by Zhang Shuyu's performance. They also rushed up to face the demonized monster. There are people beyond people, and there is a sky beyond the sky. There are so many people who are more talented than themselves, and they should be more willing to throw themselves out to sharpen themselves. Got you. Zhang Shuyu keenly caught the trembling phantom and estimated the distance. Between 600 meters and 700 meters, it is still within 1250 meters of the furthest distance of the undead puppet. That being the case, let's capture the thief first and capture the king first. 5 undead puppets ran towards that location carrying the corpse of a giant bear, and Zhang Shuyu was also carried by 2 undead puppets. The other undead puppets all stayed in place, waiting to harvest experience points. The 1 million experience just now was not enough for him to upgrade to LV.21. I believe that with another wave of harvest, he will definitely be able to upgrade. The Black Shadow didn't understand the purpose of Zhang Shuyu and these summoned creatures at first, until the undead puppet ran 100 meters in front of him, carrying a big dead bear with it. He got it. Just now, Zhang Shuyu's skill is to throw dead monsters and explode them. But now that the other party is so close, he has no time to escape. What you up to? You, don't come here. This demon is very afraid of pain. The devil didn't even bother to hide his thoughts. He didn't understand why the little human doll could be so cruel. This was his first sneak attack, and he thought the plan was brilliant. Turned over in front of this human youth. Boom! All that was waiting for it was the explosion of the giant bear. Ah! The devil's sharp voice almost pierced Zhang Shuyu's eardrum, and he subconsciously covered his ears. Hiss! So full of energy, it seems like he's not dead yet. Human race. This demon will not live with you. Just wait, this demon. The soul of this demon. Why is the soul of this demon? Can it be burned by you? It hurts. Zhang Shuyu withdrew the hand that threw soul fire and clapped it twice. Whispering, the villain dies from talking too much, which is probably the case. Zhang Shuyu let go of the undead puppets that surrounded him and helped him resist the aftermath of the explosion just now, and took a few steps forward. Your way of cultivation. Why is it so weird? You, who are you? Hearing that the black fog was still able to speak, Zhang Shuyu felt inexplicably irritated and frowned. He threw another ball of soul fire out, and finally, the devil's screams became weaker and weaker. This demon, I can't spare you, human race. This demon is going to kill you. The tormented devil finally couldn't help fighting back, and summoned all the demonized monsters to attack Zhang Shuyu. He didn't care about the plan to destroy the nursery of the human race, or what frustrated the human race's final exam. Now it just wants the boy in front of him to die. The devil knows very well that this kid is so terrifying now, if he can hurt a little bit of his consciousness, then when he grows up in the future, he will be one of the strongest enemies in the devil's lair. And this time will not be long, only shorter. Xuanwu City. Why? One of the 3 people who followed the demon head of the demon cave just now was the person in charge of the barrier situation of the trial tower, Li Jing. Nan Chengxing was on the side repairing the barrier. When he heard Li Jing's words, he suddenly had a bad feeling. But something happened to those dolls. Oh, that's not true, it's just that the resistance in the barrier seems to be much weaker. Not yet, hurry up and find out if those dolls are still alive. Oh. Li Jing quickly nodded in response, closed his eyes and communicated with the trial tower. After a while, he let out a sigh of relief and looked at Nan Chengxing. The group of young monks are still alive, with strong vitality, but the condition of the devil is not very good, and he suffered a lot of injuries. Nan Chengxing couldn't control his expression for a moment, his eyes opened like copper bells. Did I hear you right? Or did you say something wrong? Although it's just a touch of consciousness, not everyone can do it if you want to get hurt. Another powerful person said. Li Jing nodded. Well, I know what I said is a bit unbelievable, but the fact is like this, and I don't believe those little monks who are at most LV.20 can deal with it. The 3 of them couldn't figure out why, so they could only speed up their actions to help Nan Chengxing repair the barrier. In the trial tower, the monsters were so crazy that they rushed towards Zhang Shuyu without hesitation. Even if Xu Wan, Zhang Ziyi and others threw their skills to attract hatred, they were ignored. They ran after the monsters panting, throwing their skills continuously to stop their footsteps, but the monsters didn't give them a single look. I said, these monsters. Are they discriminatory against us? Xu Wan supported her knees with her hands, and looked at the monsters in front of her in a speechless manner. Anwei and Zhang Ziyi couldn't take it anymore. Yeah. This devil. Why do you hate him so much? Oh no, you should hate him too, who made him strong. Even if we want to help, we can't help. I'm exhausted. At this time, there were other monsters behind them that passed directly between them. Tianzhao from another county hated that iron could not be made into steel, so he put his sword on the ground and pointed with one hand at the giant bear and the mirror demon who ran in front of them. Look, how disrespectful. Can't we fight? Forget it. Work harder and continue to attack these monsters from the outside. Yes, wouldn't it be better like this? The monsters just ignore us, only to be beaten. A group of young monks hit it off and helped Zhang Shuyu relieve stress from the outside. After all, the aftermath of the explosion only occurred in the most central position. Even if their strength is weak, not as good as Zhang Shuyu's summoned creatures, but to watch Zhang Shuyu being besieged, this group of monks who are unwilling to retreat, and the monks who see the hope of surviving, can't do it. The dry bone bombing skill is very easy to use at this time, and Zhang Shuyu has become more and more handy in using it. A very small blue panel popped out beside Zhang Shuyu, giving a hint. It has been upgraded. Dry Bone's explosion has finally been upgraded to LV.2, and the attack range and damage effect have been doubled. Coupled with the talent bonus, that is 20 times, the radius is 40 meters, and the damage is 3 times. Common use can really increase the upgrade speed. It seems that the proficiency has reached the point. His palm. A string of dead bones exploded indiscriminately, resounding in this space. While using LV.2's bone bomb, Zhang Shuyu did not forget to protect all the monks who were assessed at the same time. In a group of 2, surround the monks who came to help from the outside. He is a person who knows how to be grateful. If he can repay his favor on the spot, he will never delay it. It was the first time for Xu Wan, a delicate girl, to be hugged after growing up. Although the undead puppet exudes a sinister aura, but after getting acquainted with each other these days, she feels full of security when she is protected at this moment. It's a pity that she couldn't understand when she said thank you to the undead puppet. Hey, if only you were more cute, then I can let Zhang Shuyu borrow you to play with me. Anwei, Zhang Ziyi, and other minor monks from other counties were also protected. A feeling of comrade in arms arises spontaneously. Boom, boom. Amidst the rumbling sound, beams of light descended from the sky, heralding Zhang Shuyu's promotion and the defeat of the devil. Damn it, the little baby of the human race. I will not forgive you for practicing with this demon's monster. The other side of the battle is only happy for Zhang Shuyu, and even succeeded in being circled as a fanboy and fangirl. Great. Zhang Shuyu's upgrade will make the situation more stable. If it weren't for him, we would all have to cool down, and now we have a better chance of surviving. We can't beat demonized monsters, and they are directly used as experience, what else can we say? 6. The devil's figure was still twisting, showing no signs of collapsing. If you kill the devil in this cave, can you get experience points? Thinking like this, Zhang Shuyu didn't know that the devil had only a sliver of consciousness. The corpses of several giant bears were thrown over, but this time the devil was not afraid at all. Oh, I'm so merciless, Zhang Shuyu, you wait for me, I'm waiting for you to come to the devil's lair, I must treat you well. The devil made a harsh announcement, and then disappeared in the sound of bombing. Only then did Zhang Shuyu realize that the devil had not really entered the trial tower. That's right, if the devil enters the trial tower, I'm afraid not only Xingzhen, but also other great powers will appear here. Do not worry, I will go to the devil's lair and drag you out and ravage you. As he thought this way, the entire trial tower had been emptied again. Zhang Shuyu, how are you doing? Shu Wan ran forward and expressed concern. It's okay, don't you think I'm fine? Zhang Shuyu showed her his hand. Only then did Shu Wan breathe a sigh of relief, we were almost scared to death just now. There are other fellow Taoists who want to help you. Zhang Shuyu looked around and said calmly, thank you. The others didn't expect that they didn't help much, and they got a thank you, and immediately scratched their heads in embarrassment. You're welcome, there's not much we can do to help. You saved us, we should say thank you brother Zhang. Yeah, I thought I couldn't even see the sun tomorrow, thank you. Zhang Shuyu's side was harmonious and lively, while He Yudong's group of timid monks had an awkward and gloomy atmosphere. Should we go up and thank you? After all, they have saved us. He Yudong snorted coldly, did he save you? If he doesn't take action, he will die too. You see, he has even upgraded, and the benefits are great. Someone listened to his words and gave up the idea of going forward to thank him. But there were also people who snorted coldly, the intention is not right. Then he walked towards Zhang Shuyu with strides to thank him. Trial tower body. The devil's consciousness is gone. Li Jing murmured. What? Nan Chengxing didn't hear what he said clearly. The consciousness of the devil should be wiped out, but, who has the ability? Are the dolls inside united so powerfully? Nan Chengxing was silent, he hadn't heard such an incredible thing for a long time. Send all the juniors out first, and let's see what happened later. Li Jing also felt that there was no other way, nodded and said, okay. My juniors, the devil has disappeared, and the ancient battlefield has returned to normal. You will be sent back to your county later, and the results of the assessment will come out later. When Xingzhen's words sounded, everyone's hearts relaxed. The beam of teleportation light appeared, and all the young monks were teleported back to the grass where they queued up for the assessment. The big exam is over. Monks are asked to rest where they are and wait for the final results. After the deep and old voice finished speaking, it fell silent. All the monks did not leave, waiting for the final results and the marks of the examiners. If the contribution value is not ideal, but the examiners score 90 to 100, then it can also be favored by some powerful holy places. Of course, the monks who entered the ancient battlefield had to wait for the grades from Xuanwu City, while the other monks were waiting for the grades from the county examiner. Xuanwu City. It turned out to be this kid named Zhang Shuyu, who did really well. Yeah, thanks to him, the barrier can be successfully repaired this time. Ghost Cultivator, this talent should be a way of cultivation that people in the devil's lair can easily awaken, but he can use it on the right way. Well, I've heard about this guy, and I was paying attention to him before the incident happened, and he should have awakened his talent, both in talent and skill, are very powerful. He is courageous and resourceful, and he protects other monks while killing demonized monsters. He is a righteous person. This child can be well cultivated. Nan Chengxing made such a conclusion. Hearing this, the top experts in Xuanwu City all acquiesced. As for what method Nan Chengxing will use, they will definitely give support and help Zhang Shuyu grow. After all, the future of the human race rests on these young monks, and they will definitely do their best to cultivate such a talented human being born out of nowhere. Just by himself, he solved the problem of the trial tower, and also protected the other young talents. If they don't even cultivate such arrogance, aren't they old-eyed and dizzy? Then, those shrinking children. Tisk, there is no need to think about it. If you go to the battlefield, what is the use of such a person? Why waste the resources of the Xuanwu continent by entering the Holy Land? Several supreme powerhouses were silent for a moment, and finally made a unanimous decision. Those who have not stepped forward from the beginning to the end have a score of 0. After Zhang Shuyu turned the tide of the battle, those who were willing to step forward to help, give around 60 or 70, anyway, they can pass, but they can't go to the best holy place. Those who never backed down from the beginning to the end, and even stepped forward to help Zhang Shuyu, basically scored 80 to 95 points. This is both fair and aimed at different types of monks. Anyway, those who have flinched will not be able to enjoy the best resources in Xuanwu continent. What the human race needs are monks who are not afraid of death, do not restrain their hands and feet, and dare to fight against the devil's cave. There is such a scoring standard this year, not only because of the accident of the devil, but also because Zhang Shuyu's performance is too eye-catching. In the past, young monks could be graded based on how quickly they dealt with monsters, their proficiency in skills, and their reactions in battle. Now, it is obvious that this group of monks are the arrogance of heaven among the counties, but there is such a shining sun as Zhang Shuyu. The other monks became eclipsed in a blink of an eye, and there was nothing bright to speak of. But that half of the monks who never flinched from the beginning to the end and helped Zhang Shuyu deal with the surrounding monsters were also quite good-natured. And He Yudong's group of sour grapes are not only cowardly, unable to reflect on themselves, but also have other thoughts. It is a waste of resources for such dishonest people to accept the training of the Holy Land. No matter how young you are and have not experienced the tempering of the cultivation world, such a person's nature is hard to change in the end, so let's just give up. In the end, the city on the other side of Xuanwu City announced the ratings of the top talents in each county, and each county released them separately. The overall assessment ranking is as follows. Number 1. Zhang Shuyu, contribution value 56,450, score 100. Second place. Xu Wan, contribution value 8,565, score 95. Third place. Zhang Ce, contribution value 6,910, score 95. Fourth place. En Wei, contribution value 6,832, score 95. Fifth place. He Yudong, contribution value 6,335, score 10. Originally, several powerhouses in Xuanwu City agreed that He Yudong was too bad, so it was better to give 0 points directly. But someone said, anyway, no matter how much we give, we will disqualify him, and there is no Holy Land that is willing to ask for it. It's okay to give some points. After all, he is in the same county as Zhang Shuyu. Everyone thought it was reasonable, so it was better to save him some face. But He Yudong yelled in disbelief when he saw the score. Impossible. Why am I 10 points? Why, you guys are so unfair. Why is Zhang Shuyu 100 and I only have this little bit? Originally, he didn't say this, the top Holy Land didn't want him, and even those with slightly weaker strength were willing to accept him. But, the teleportation light beam flashed. He Yudong questioned the grades of the core examiners of Xuanwu City, and eliminated the qualifications for the assessment. As a result, he didn't even have the chance to enter the Holy Land. Tisk tisk, what a waste of money. I want that contribution value, even if the score is 10. The young monk who didn't know why didn't understand what happened in the trial tower, so he could only feel sorry for him. Congratulations to Zhang Shuyu, Chief of Shanghai County, for this year's major examination of technical training. I hope you will continue to work hard in the future, and don't slack off in your practice. Soon, the atmosphere of the scene was all gathered on the number 1. Zhang Shuyu is really scary, he really became the chief of the county. This contribution value is nearly 7 times that of the second place. It's like a dream. I didn't expect that one day I would witness such a glorious history. Ning Jie was also a little flustered at this time. First and second, this was his first time since he became the suzerain of Xuanyu sect. Congratulations to Sect Master Ning. You actually hired the leader in Yaqing. The glorious day of your Xuanyu sect is not far away. Presumably, as a result, there will be many people from Shanghai County pouring into the Xuanyu sect this year. Congratulations. At this time, the congratulatory sounds of other suzerains could be heard in his ears, so he couldn't help but float on the clouds. At this time, the other suzerains can't even feel jealous. If Xu Wan's contribution value makes them feel that they can surpass it, but Zhang Shuyu is still the first person in this group of suzerains who has so many contribution points after breaking 10,000 since they watched the big exam. I don't know how much Ning Jie has put in to cultivate such a disciple, and now he is about to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land. What a pity. Zhang Shuyu, you really became the chief of the county, congratulations. Xu Wan looked at him with a smile, even a little proud. Sure enough, she saw Zhang Shuyu right. This is her classmate. Thank you. You are good too, Zhang Shuyu said politely. Although this girl is not so aggressive anymore, she still has to be steady. A woman's heart is a needle in the bottom of the sea, and she is afraid that it will explode one day. Then the rankings of other monks' contribution values also came out, and Sun Yangyang was ranked 52nd. Now it is really 100% sure that he can enter the Holy Land of Coriander. After getting the grades, he also rushed over. Boss. Congratulations. I made a lot of money because of you. As soon as this remark came out, Zhang Shuyu raised his eyebrows and looked at Sun Yangyang strangely. Made a fortune. What made a lot of money? Cough, boss, you don't have jade slips, so you don't know the benefits of jade slips. Hearing that Sun Yangyang had bet 2,000 spirit stones on Zhang Shuyu, and now it has doubled 20 times, Xu Wan also opened her eyes wide and covered her mouth in shock. Then she lit a fireball in the palm of her hand. Stupid. Why didn't you call me for such a good thing? Have you forgotten our fellowship? Sun Yangyang pursed his lips and his breath stagnated. Isn't it Miss Xu? Ask yourself if you lack spirit stones. And look at the fireball in your hand. Would you mind telling me about fellowship? Okay, Sun Zhuangzhuang, you actually said that. Look at the trick. Sun Yangyang ran away clutching his ass, and Xu Wan chased after him. Zhang Shuyu couldn't help but cover his mouth with his fists and laughed. Cough. Not finished yet. Suddenly, an old voice sounded, and the entire noisy rest area fell silent. Just now news came from Xuanwu City, the central city of the mainland, that this year's chief of the mainland's master exam is Zhang Shuyu. Wow, Zhang Shuyu, Zhang Shuyu, mainland chief Zhang Shuyu, idol. Many young monks in Shanghai County shouted Zhang Shuyu's name loudly. They were assessed by the same batch as the chief of the mainland. Zhang Shuyu looked calm. Sun Yangyang and Xu Wan also ran back, looking at Zhang Shuyu suspiciously. Boss, why weren't you happy just now? The corners of Zhang Shuyu's lips curled up. Happy, why not? It's just expected. After all, he has eaten up all the experience in the trial tower just now, and no one else has a chance. Besides him, who else is the chief of the mainland? Ning Jie, who was originally middle-aged and hale and hearty, clutched his little heart fiercely. The people on the side had quick eyes and quick hands, and quickly supported him. Old Ning, calm down. Don't be fooled. What's more, he was immediately fed a rejuvenation pill. Old Ning, are you better? Ning Jie finally breathed out the breath that was raised in his throat. Am I dreaming? That kid from Shuyu has become the chief of the mainland. The other suzerains laughed. Of course it's true, Zhang Shuyu of your Xuanyu sect has become the chief of the mainland. Yes, Lao Ning, our Shanghai County is glorious this time. Our Shanghai County in the 16th counties has not produced such a talented person for many years. We have all been honored by your Zhang Shuyu. Anwei and Zhang Xi walked up to Zhang Shuyu together, clasping their fists together. Congratulations brother Zhang for becoming the chief of the mainland. At the same time, he added, thank you for saving us. After all, we don't know if we can deal with so many general-level monsters. If it weren't for you, we would at least be seriously injured now. You're welcome, you've already said thank you, haven't you? Zhang Shuyu also returned a salute. Seeing that this man was not arrogant, Anwei and Zhang Xi smiled at each other. This person is righteous. Zhang Xi smiled and said, Brother Zhang, as expected, you should also go to Xuanwu Holy Land, right? Zhang Shuyu nodded lightly, and then asked him what he meant with his eyes. Ah, that's fine. I'll treat you to dinner at the Xuanwu Holy Land when the time comes. You all come. Xu Wan and Wei responded in unison, okay. Zhang Shuyu was also polite, okay, thank you brother Zhang. The teleportation formations back to their respective cities have been prepared. Candidates please return to the teleportation formations in their respective cities, the sect will guide you into the Holy Land tomorrow. After they bid farewell, they all went back to the city. It's night, Zhang Shuyu is entering meditation. Knock knock. Shuyu, are you there? It was Sect Master Ning's voice. Sovereign, wait a moment. Zhang Shuyu woke up from the trance, put away the 8 newly summoned undead puppets, stood up and opened the door, and made a disciple salute. Sovereign, why did you come here late at night? Why don't you take a good rest? Excited, can't sleep. Ning Jie looked at Zhang Shuyu cheerfully, then stepped aside, and a figure appeared at the door. Zhang Shuyu saw that this person was wearing a black robe and was brought by Sect Master Ning at night, so he should be a trustworthy person, and before he could think any further, that person made a move. Coercion. Zhang Shuyu immediately took a step back, and summoned 4 undead puppets to stand in front of him, blocking the strong coercion. Ning Jie on the side also didn't know why and watched the two compete. What's the situation? Oh, not bad. After several seconds of stalemate, the man in black chuckled. Hearing this voice, Zhang Shuyu breathed a sigh of relief, and immediately put away the undead puppet. He clasped his fists and bowed, saluted. Junior Zhang Shuyu has met Senior Xingzhen. Oh, you know me. Nan Chengxing revealed his face, raised his eyebrows lightly, looked at him suspiciously, and withdrew his coercion. Zhang Shuyu concealed the excitement in his heart, raised his head and replied, I don't know you, but I have heard your voice. The voice was like the breeze and the moon. Zhang Shuyu was considered half of the voice controller, so he would never forget the voice. Especially the voice of someone like Xingzhen. I thought that hearing the other party's voice in the tower was the closest to Xingzhen, but I didn't expect. Shuyu, why are you in a daze? Why don't you invite Xingzhen in? Sect Master Ning figured out Nan Chengxing's intention. He was relieved immediately, and sounded a reminder. Oh, it's Shuyu, isn't it? Senior Xingzhen please come in, suzerain please come in. At the same time, sect leader Ning also explained for Zhang Shuyu, I'm sorry Xingzhen, this kid doesn't deal with people very much, so he's not very good at it. No problem. Nan Chengxing nodded and followed Zhang Shuyu into the house. In fact, the Zongmin has a disciple Dongfu, but this is the place where Zhang Shuyu, Zhang Shuli, and his grandmother lived, so Ning Jie helped the siblings move this small broken house into the Zongmin. Therefore, compared with the disciple Dongfu next door, it can be called a family with 4 walls. Ning Jie also saw the doubt in Nan Chengxing's eyes, so he explained. Oh, so your sister Zhang Shuli. Nan Chengxing looked at Zhang Shuyu, wanting to see his reaction. Zhang Shuyu was serving water to 2 guests. There is no tea at home, only this little well water is sweet and clear, please don't mind. Zhang Shuli, the younger sister's elder sister, entered the Xuanwu Holy Land last year, so this junior must go to the Xuanwu Holy Land this year. Nan Chengxing saw the longing in his eyes, and was suddenly glad that Zhang Shuyu's talented sister had also gone to the Xuanwu Holy Land, otherwise he might fail in this recruitment. Looking at this small dilapidated house, one can also know that the 2 children have no resources of aristocratic families, and they have made it to the Xuanwu Holy Land by themselves, so Zhang Shuli can be regarded as a person with a strong heart. Nan Chengxing secretly noticed Sha Zhang Shuli's name, and planned to go back and get to know him better. I should have looked into it before coming here. Since your goal is to enter the Xuanwu Holy Land, it's just right. I came here for 2 reasons. The first is to reward you as the chief of the mainland. Second, I will take you to the Xuanwu Holy Land to participate in a secret trial in the future. Of course, your consent is required. This trial is for the inner disciples of the Xuanwu Holy Land. You can learn more about the details after going to the Holy Land. If you don't agree, you can also refuse. My personal advice is, go. Zhang Shuyu pondered. Since this trial is aimed at the inner disciples of the Holy Land, wouldn't he be considered an early entry now? Besides, based on his understanding of Xuanwu Holy Land, he guessed that he would be considered as an inner disciple after he chose the peak, so what status did he enter with? The trial begins the day after tomorrow, so why not say it? And why did Xingzhen suggest him to go? What is the purpose of Xingzhen for this? Zhang Shuyu felt that his brain's CPU was about to run out of limits. It's good that you're cautious, keep it up, be skeptical and cautious about everything. You really don't have the qualifications to participate in the trial of the secret realm. I personally obtained the quota for you, because I think this trial will only benefit you and not harm you, but the specific content of the test cannot be announced in advance. Ning Jie opened his eyes wide. Did he hear about opening the back door? Zhang Shuyu also understood Xingzhen's kindness. It seemed that his performance was appreciated by the other party, which made the other party cherish his talents. Okay, I'll go. After getting an affirmative answer, Xingzhen suddenly felt that his painstaking efforts were not in vain, and said with a smile, okay, then I will reward you first. With a wave of Xingzhen's hand, a card and a scroll appeared on the table. Inside the card is the contribution value you obtained in this assessment, and there are 100,000 contribution value rewards, a total of more than 150,000. This is the primary skill scroll. There is another chance to enter the Xuanwu Tower. You can read the specific information about the Xuanwu Tower on the Jade Slip. By the way, the Jade Slips can be exchanged in the trading market of Xuanwu Holy Land with contribution points. When he asked Ning Jie to contact Zhang Shuyu with the Jade Slip just now, he knew that Zhang Shuyu didn't have the Jade Slip. Now that the contribution value is so much, the child doesn't have to be so embarrassed. By the way, before entering the Xuanwu Tower, you must prepare well, because the opportunity to enter the Xuanwu Tower is very rare and cannot be wasted. Nan Chengxing already felt that she hadn't been such a mother-in-law for a long time. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.